Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make the shawl that you saw in the picture. I don't have a lot of room on my table because it is quite a large shawl. Now it is a very easy shawl to do. It is a 3-row repeat. And the increase that happens here towards the center. And you can see that it pretty much be stitches that are lined up here, and they go out and they increase here at the center. Now mine measures approximately 75 inches across, and then from top to point it's about 35 inches. And of course you can make yours bigger or smaller if you like. Does end in a shell detail there, and I do mention at the end that you can use fringe or just leave that off if you'd like. So this is kind of how mine looks. I wish I had more room. I wish I had more room, but it is very, very beautiful. I really like it. It's very delicate. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this off the table, and we'll talk about the yarn that I used. All right, for this particular shawl, I used Dolce cashmere. This is from Hobby. It's 65% virgin wool, 25% polyamide, and 10% cashmere. You do not have to use this yarn. But this is classified as a 1-weight yarn, so that is what a 1-weight. So that is what was used on this shawl. Now you don't have to use a 1-weight. You can use a 2-weight, a 3-weight, a 4-weight, whatever you like. You know, it all depends on you. But for this one, there are 800 and what's the yardage on these things? I forgot. 842 yards, or 200 grams, or 770 meters per cake. These come in cakes. I actually used a little bit of a whole one and then a little bit of another, so around 1,050 yards of a 1-weight. I can't tell you how much you'll need of a 2-weight or a 3-weight or a 4-weight because I didn't do it in that size, but that is what you will need for the 1-weight if you want to make it the size that I did. Mine is fairly large, so if you just have one of these, it'll still make a very beautiful shawl. But like I said, any yarn that you want to use will be just fine. So for this particular the color is color number 15. And then for that particular yarn, I used a size G, which is sometimes a 4mm and sometimes it is a 4.25. Either one of those would be just fine. Now, if you're using a different weight of yarn, I would recommend using a hook size bigger than what they recommend on the label to give it a better drape. So, well, I guess I used the recommendation on this one. I didn't look at it, but yeah, I would use either the recommendation or a hook size bigger if you're using a different yarn. Give it a nice drape, you know. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Alright, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using, I'm going to show you in a thicker weight yarn so it's easier to see. This is just some scrap yarn. It's a 100% acrylic medium weight number 4. And I'm using a J hook with the medium weight number 4. But remember, you can use any size of yarn that you like. But I did, for the shawl that I did use a G hook with a 1-weight yarn. Alright, let's go ahead and start. So for row 1, we're going to start with a chain of 6. And then we are going to slip stitch into the first chain to form a ring. Just like that. Okay, we're going to start off with the chain 1, which does not count as a stitch. So we're going to be working a lot of double V stitches in this pattern. So a double V stitch is 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So we're going to go ahead and work a double V stitch in the center of this ring. So we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet, another double crochet, so that's 2 doubles, and then a chain of 2, and then we're going to go back and do 2 more doubles, and that will be a double V stitch through the center of the ring that we did. And then we are going to work a chain 2, which is kind of going to be the point of our shawl, and then we're going to work another double V stitch in the center here of the ring. So 2 doubles, there's 1, and 2, a chain of 2, and 2 more doubles. And that will end row 1, and you can usually pull that center circle to close it up a little bit more, and we can sew it together later if you wish. So row 1 is just 2 double V stitches with a chain 2 here at the point. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start row 2. So row 2, we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now we're going to be working into this first double V stitch right here, this chain 2 space of the first double V stitch. So we're going to work a double V stitch into it. So right through the spot, we're going to work at 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. So that's our double V stitch, but we're also going to chain 2 and work 2 more doubles into the same spot. So in that first spot, we got 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. Now we're going to chain 2, and in the next chain 2 space right here, which is the center of our shawl, we're going to work a double V stitch. So 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. Like that. And then we're going to chain 2 again. And in this last chain 2 space, we're going to do the same thing that we did in our first one. We're going to go into the chain 2 space and work a double V stitch. So 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. And then we're going to chain 2 again and work 2 more double crochets into that same spot. And that will end row 2. So both the beginning here and the end has 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And then we got our point right here, which is just a straight double V stitch. All right, let's go ahead and start row 3. We're going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now we're going to put a double V stitch into the first chain 2 space here of our first double V. So we're going to right into it and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 2, and then in the next double V stitch right here, we're going to work a double V stitch into the chain 2 space. So we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. So that'll be our double V. Like that. And then we're going to chain 2. And now we're going to jump over here to the point of our shawl right here. And we're going to work a double V stitch. So 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles is our double V. But now also into the same spot, we're going to chain 2 and go back in it and work 2 more double crochets into that spot. So now the point is consisting of 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. Now we are going to chain 2, and we're going to do over here what we just did over here. So we're going to put in our next double V-stitch, which is way down here. We're kind of keeping our double V-stitches lined up, so nothing here. Way down here, see that? In this chain 2 space, we're going to work a double V-stitch. So we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles into that chain space. Like that. Then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put a double V-stitch here into the last double V-stitch, our last chain 2 space. 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. It's like that, and that will end, oh, one more here, row 3. That's what it kind of starts to look like. All right, for row 4, we're going to chain 3, and we're going to turn our work. Now in this first double V-stitch here, in the chain 2 space, we're going to work a double V-stitch, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And we're also going to chain 2, and in the same spot work 2 more double crochets. Just like that. So it was 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And now we are going to chain 2 and work a double V-stitch into the next double V-stitch. So right here, remember we're keeping our double V-stitches lined up. So there's 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. Like that. And then we're going to chain 2, and you would continue like that until you meet the point here. So I'm at the point here of row 4, and this is how we work the point. We are going to work a double V-stitch into this first chain 2 space right here. And then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to work a double V-stitch into the next double V-stitch here, right here. Like that. So that's kind of our point now. This chain 2 space now becomes the point. We're kind of slowly increasing at the point area. So now we need to make this side match this side. So we're going to chain 2 and find our next double V-stitch, and you can kind of see them start to line up here. This chain 2 space right here, and we're going to put a double V-stitch into it. And chain 2, and we are going to jump here to our last double V-stitch, and we need to make it match our first one. So we go into it and we work a double V-stitch, chain 2, so there's our double V-stitch, and then we got to chain 2 and work 2 more double crochets, and that makes it match the other side. So both the beginning and the last stitches are 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, chain 2, 2 double, and that will end row 4. And now we're going to start row 5. So okay, row 5 starts the repeat row. It is a 3-row repeat, rows 5, 6, and 7. So we are going to chain 3, turn our work, and we are going to put a double V-stitch into our first chain 2 space. And then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to put a double V-stitch, chain 2 into each one of our double V-stitches until we get up here to the point. So that's what we're going to do for the repeats of row 5 here. So I'm going to jump to my next double V-stitch, and I'm going to put a double V-stitch in it. 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. I'm going to chain 2, and I'll jump to my next double V-stitch, which is right here. You can see that our V-stitches are staying lined up, and double V-stitch into it. Oops. And right up here, now remember this chain 2 space is the point, so we're going to have to chain 2 after this last double V-stitch and double V-stitch into this double V-stitch here. Like that. Chain 2. And then into the chain 2 space, the point here of the shawl, we're going to put a double V-stitch into that space. Like that. And then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to put a double V-stitch into the next chain 2 space of the next double V-stitch, just like this. So 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. So we've already made it around the point. Now, the point now is this middle double V-stitch. So we'll continue this pattern on the other side. What we did over here, we're going to do over here. Chain in 2, and then double V-stitch into the next double V-stitch. Chain 2, double V-stitch into the next double V-stitch, so right over here. Remember, we're always keeping our V-stitches lined up. Chain 2, and then our last chain 2 space right here, double V-stitch in it. And that will end row 5, and this is what it kind of starts to look like. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start row 6. We are going to chain 3 and turn our work. And in the first double V-stitch here, we're going to work a double V-stitch, a chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets, all into the same spot here. So there is my double V stitch there, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, and then I'm going to do a chain 2 and go back into the same spot and work 2 more double crochets, just like that. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to work a double V stitch, chain 2 into each one of the double V stitches until we get up here to our point of our shawl. Remember, our V stitches always stay lined up. You can see how they're nice and lined up right now. So we would just do this until we get to the point. So there's a double V stitch, chain 2, jumped over here to our next double V stitch, and double V stitch in it. Chain 2, our next double V stitch, and double V stitch in it. And we keep doing that until we get to the point, and you can see now we are here at the point, right here. Now we're going to, into this chain 2 space of the point, we're going to work a double V stitch, a chain 2, and 2 more double crochets back into that point. So make sure you chain 2 after your last double V stitch, and into the point we're going to work our double V, and then we're going to work a chain 2 and go back into the same spot and work 2 more double crochets like that. So that's the point now. 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And now we're going to work again on this side what we just did over here, which is chain 2 and working a double V stitch into the next double V stitch. And chain 2 and double V stitch into the next double V stitch. We're going to do this until we get to our last double V stitch of the row, making sure our V stitches stay lined up. Make sure you chain 2 after each one. Chain 2. And then when you get to the last one, you want to do the same as you did on this side, which is the double V stitch, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets all into that very last one. So here is my double V stitch, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets into that last one, and that will end row 6. That's what it starts to look like there. Alright, now we're going to start row 7, which is the final row of the repeat. We are going to do a chain of 3, and we're going to turn our work. And we are going to do a V stitch in the first chain 2 space here, or the double V stitch, 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. And then we are going to chain 2 after that. Sorry about that. And then we're going to work a double V stitch with the chain 2 in each one of these double V stitches until we get right up here to the point of our shawl. So we just keep making sure that our double V stitches stay lined up the whole time. Wow. Chain 2, jump over here to the next one, double V, chain 2, and to the next one, chain 2, right up here is the point, so you would just continue until you get up there. And then when we make it up here, make sure you chain 2 after that last one before the point. So here's the point now of our shawl. What we're going to do is put a double V stitch into the first chain 2 space. And we're going to chain 2, and we're going to jump over here to the next double V, and we're going to put a double V stitch into that. And chain 2, and then we would continue our pattern of putting a double V stitch in each one of these chain 2 spaces of the double V's, and making sure you put a chain 2 in between them. And now you can see the point now is the chain 2 space right here. So I'm going to continue along making this side look like this side by doing the same thing. The double V stitch in the chain 2 space of every double V stitch with a chain 2 in between them until I make it to the end of the row. Chain 2, jump to your next one, and remember, you just keep your V stitches lined up, and there's always that chain 2 in between them. Alright, I'm coming to the end here, row 7, and I just continue with the double V stitch in the chain 2 space of every double V stitch here. So I'm at my last one, gonna double V stitch in it. And that will end row 7. There it is. Now we will just keep repeating rows 5, 6, and 7 until you get to your desired size. Alright, and then when you get to your desired size, you want to end on a row 7 repeat. So end on the row 7, and I'm going to put an edge on mine. You do not have to do that. You can leave it the way it is. You could add fringe if you wanted to add fringe. It would be pretty on it. Otherwise, I'll show you what type of edge that mine has. So this is the final row, the edging row. So you got it as big as you want. You ended on a row 7 repeat. So now we're going to do a chain of 3, and we're going to turn our work for the edging here. And in the first chain 2 space here, we are going to work 4 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. And then we're going to do a picot. So we're going to chain 3, and then we come back down and we slip stitch into the top of this double crochet. I like to go kind of into the side of it like this. And this is going to make a little ball or a little point here on the top of that double crochet. Now I'm going to go back into the same stitch here, and I'm going to put 3 more double crochets. Like that. So in that stitch we have a total of 7 double crochets. In the middle one, the 4th one, has the picot on it. See that? So that's the picot shell edging like that. Now we're going to do a chain of 2, and we're going to put a single crochet into the next double V-stitch space right here. And then we're going to chain 2 and repeat, starting with this picot. So into the next double V-stitch space, I'm going to do this shell picot again. So I'm going to work 4 double crochets, and then on that 4th one I'm going to do a picot. So I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to come back down and slip stitch kind of like in the side there, and that makes that little ball on top, which is known as a picot. And I'm going to finish out by putting 3 more double crochets into this spot. There's 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to single crochet into my next double V-stitch. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to repeat again, starting with my shell picot. So I'm going to work 4 doubles. And then chain 3 for my picot. And then finish it out by putting 3 more doubles into that same spot. And that will end my shell picot. And now you would keep doing that until you came up on your point, which is right here. See this? Because you ended on a row 7 repeat, this is what your point should look like right now. So I'm going to chain 2 after this shell picot and a single crochet into this spot right here. Then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to work a shell picot into this chain 2 space. Okay, so that would be, this is going to be the final stitch of the point. Pretty little shell. Go back in it and work 3 more for a total of 7 doubles with a picot on the fourth one in the middle. And then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next V-stitch like that. And that is what that's the edging. I'm going to repeat what I did over here on this side until I get to the end. So I'll chain 2 and shell picot into the next. Chain 2 and single crochet into the next double V, chain 2 and shall picot into the next, and we'll repeat this until we get to the end. Alright, and once you make it here to the end, we're just going to end by putting a slip stitch kind of right down here in this first double, just so you can kind of tie off a little bit easier. There we go. And you would clip that, hide any tails that you have hanging around, and that's it. That's what it looks like. That's how you do it. Actually becomes very easy. You can see closely, once you look closely, you know, how everything lines up accordingly. And you can see how it grows here. Let me get my big piece. Alright, so when you look at the big shawl, you can see how all the V-stitches are always kept lined up. And they have these chain twos, excuse me, in between them. And the increases are happening here when we repeat those 3 rows. See that? So for my particular shawl, the size that I have done a total of 55 rows, and that is not counting the finishing row of shells. That would be number 56, but you do yours as big as you'd like. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope you were able to follow along. Once you get to going, it'll be super, you'll find out that it's super easy, and it makes such a delicate, beautiful shawl. So if you enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment below. That really helps me out a lot, you know, any type of comment. And then give me a subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my tutorials or any other types of videos that I put on. So thanks for watching. Bye everybody. Have a good day.